We're close enough. I'm just happy to be sitting.
So, is everybody ready?
Yes.
So, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock, and if you will all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Next on the agenda is the roll call. In other words, you please call the roll.
Mayor Cleve Lars.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Here.
Trustee Ed Hound. Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Here.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Present.
Trustee Janice Bryant.
Here.
Trustee Brett Porter.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we will continue on. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks and a second by Trustee Betsy Harrison to approve the agenda as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of May 12th, 2021. And I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 12th, 2021 as presented by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Janice Bryant and a second by Trustee Brent McWhirter to approve the minutes of May 12th, 2021 as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is audience business, and we have two people signed up. We have Mark Rosenbaum and Sharon Rosenbaum. So if you would approach the podium and you have state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
I'm Mark Rosenbaum, 150 East First Street. So I was here a month ago asking for some help on First Street, which we forecasted would be a nightmare traffic-wise, and it is. Real bummer that there now. Ever since we took the stop signs out, from the advice of the state, it's been a racetrack over there. And now it's just multiplied, of course, with all the traffic being routed through there. Livestock trailers, construction guys who live down valley, everybody that doesn't want to go another quarter mile to Montezuma is racing down First Street. We've clocked people with our little camera cam 47 miles an hour. That's high, but 30, 40, 45 all day long. The marshal will come and park at the church, and mysteriously it all stops. And they go 20. Everyone should be going 15. I would like the stop signs back. Okay? Or we can buy an affordable speed bump. Something should be done. It's dangerous, it's scary, it's loud, it sucks. I'm tired of it, and I hope we can do something about it. Here's my feedback for it. I'll deliver over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sharon, do you want to?
I follow that.
Sharon Rosenbaum on East First Street. So obviously we all feel the same. The whole neighborhood feels the same, but the communities have a library thing, and this person has that thing. And we all feel the same. There's 2-year-olds on that street now. I gave away my 2 cats because I feared for their lives. So that's how bad it's getting. People are afraid to walk their dogs on it now. stop signs were so huge, when you took out the stop signs, which was years ago now, it became a racetrack. It's crazy over there. We don't notice that when we walk around town. That doesn't happen anywhere else. I don't know if it's because the First Street gets real wide all of a sudden or what, but there's got to be a solution. And some guy who did a study and sits in a office in Denver and decided to take out those stop signs for whatever reason and doesn't live here, while the stop sign with people coming downhill on snowy roads should have been taken out, not the ones on the straightaway. It was completely opposite of what Durango does or anyone should do. It's the guy sliding down the hill who should have the right of way. The guy who really can't see around the corners that should have the right of way, not the people on the racetrack should be stopped. They do have mobile speed bumps that are really affordable. You can put them wherever you want, you can move them again, you can use them elsewhere, but really the stop signs are the best solution. And portable speed bumps, I do both. It used to be a really neat place over there for the first few years, and it's just getting progressively worse with code not being enforced, whether it's parking dogs or taking out stop signs, racing traffic. So what, you know, wait for animals to die or children to die before we do something? Because I would like to know whose town this is. Is it the states? Is it federal government? Whose town is this? Can you answer that question? It's our town. It's our street. We live here. Not a bureaucrat in Denver, not the President of the United States, unless we're making deals with the government to get money, we do a study so that they have their way. I mean, into 2021, I don't know what's going on, but I find it really bizarre that people have no say, you know, what we pay the taxes and fund it all. Okay, I know how I feel. The whole street feels this way, at least from Lady Hirschberger, Wilson down where it gets wide and fast. So please, you know, nice to see new faces on the board. I don't know you that very well. But anyway, it's nice to see some new faces and familiar ones. Now if you can just have some results. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving right along, announcements. Heather, do you have any announcements?
I do have a few. Both Terry and Justin are gone, so Public Works is grading the streets and applying chloride throughout town. They finished everything south of the river, so they're working on the plan, just to let you guys know. Advantage K1 will be here on June 2nd to treat Water Park, and We Happy Lands is treating Cottonwood Park again this year. We are closed on Monday, and we are advertising several open positions to bring us up to full staff. We do have several interviews scheduled for next week, so keep your fingers crossed that we can fill some positions. And it's the parks. The parks are the ones that are suffering most, so hopefully we can fill some positions and see some maintenance happen above just mowing and weeding. We do have somebody, when we purchased this building over here, the same person who's handling the landscaping, we asked him to handle it this year, so we can get our hands around everything. With the money that we have saved, I don't even like to say that, but through attrition, with positions not being filled, Terry's going to reach out to the person who's handling this, the new marshal's office building lot at Pocket Park, and ask that person to give us a bid, even just to do the flower beds in Royal Park. Just to see if we can get somebody in who can do some serious maintenance on those. The weed barrier needs to be replaced. It's not just, oh, let's go, you know. So we're going to get a bid for that, and if it fits within the seasonal budget, I told you just go ahead and. So we'll know more on that in the next few weeks. That is all I have.
Anybody have any? Just a reminder, I think it was in the minutes that Memorial Day There will be a ceremony out at the cemetery at 10. Anybody wants to attend? So, nothing else, we'll move right on then. Next one is the proclamation for LGBTQ and the Pride Month. Town of Mancos proclamation of LGBTQ2S plus Pride Month, June 2021. Whereas the town of Mancos supports the rights of every citizen to experience equality and freedom from discrimination and harassment. And whereas the town of Mancos denounces prejudice and unfair discrimination based on age, gender identity, gender expression, race, color, religion, marital status, national origin, sexual orientation, or physical attributes as an affront to our fundamental principles. And whereas the town of Mancos wishes to participate in building a nation of equal rights for all people and to honor our diverse community. And whereas Pride began in June of 1969 on the one-year anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City, after LGBTQ2S plus and allied friends rose up and fought against constant unconstitutional police harassment and discriminatory laws. And whereas June celebrated as LGBTQ2S plus Pride Month nationwide, and whereas the town of Mancos has a diverse LGBTQ2S plus community that includes people of all ethnicities, religions, and professions, and whereas it is imperative that young people in our community, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, feel valued, safe, empowered, and supported by their peers and community leaders. And whereas everyone should be able to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, and hatred based on age, gender identity, gender expression, race, color, religion, marital status, national origin, sexual orientation, or physical attributes. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees, on behalf of all residents of Mancos, does hereby proclaim June 2021 as LGBTQ2S plus Pride Month and urges all residents to respect and honor our diverse community and celebrate and build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance. Signed, Mayor Queenie Bars. So next on the agenda is a proclamation for Memorial Day, and it's Town of Mancos, a proclamation Memorial Day. Whereas on Monday, May 31st, 2021, Americans joined together to remember the brave men and women in uniform and their sacrifice to protect the interests of our country and defend our freedom. And whereas in May 1868, Major General John A. Logan called for a nationwide day of remembrance to pay tribute to those who gave their lives serving our country, which would officially be designated Memorial Day by Congress. And whereas Montezuma County is blessed to be the home of more than 2,200 military veterans who have shown courage and valor, often in the face of grave danger. And whereas on this Memorial Day, Town of Mancos citizens remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for their country, and comfort the families and friends who have lost a loved one, as we are forever indebted to those who have died in defense of our great nation. And whereas we reflect upon the enormous contributions to our county of our fallen warriors, we also pay tribute to the next generation of Mancos citizens who have chosen to serve in the United States Armed Forces, as they are committed to sustaining a legacy of unyielding patriotism. And now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Queenie Bars, on behalf of the Board of Trustees for the Town of Mancos, call observance to the attention of all our citizens. Dated this 26th day of May 2021, Mayor Ellen Queenie Bars. Okay, moving right along is the committee reports. First is the Montezuma County Planning Commission. I attended their meeting 2 weeks ago, and they had 6 different public hearings on subdivisions, and so they sent them to the county commissioners to with some recommendations and some stipulations, but there was at this time none in the Mancos area. They were all over in the Dolores Cortez area, but they had 6 of them, so things are happening and moving right along. So that's all I have. Next is the school district.
Their meeting was not online again, but I do know that they have hired the new superintendent. The new superintendent starts in June 15th, I believe. And last day of school is tomorrow. So school's out. It's summer. I'd sing the song, but
Yeah, right. It went in my head.
School musical, is that what we're doing?
no, I was doing Alice Cooper.
Oh, sorry.
School's out for the summer.
We were talking this over, we do high school musical.
Frozen stuck in my head still.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Okay, next on the agenda is discussion and action items, and the first one is ordinance 763, series 2021, our watering restrictions. Heather.
Yes, so we talked about this at the workshop 2 weeks ago, and the only change, this is an existing ordinance that was already in effect. The only change made to the ordinance is when we get to step 3. When our water is called currently for 6 consecutive weeks, then the public works director starts making additional recommendations and changes. The board changed that to when our water is called for 3 consecutive weeks. That's the only change in the ordinance. And we are doing it as an emergency, so it will be effective, if you approve it tonight, it will be effective as soon as you approve it. We won't be waiting 30 days after publication.
Anybody have any questions or anything? Then I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve ordinance 763, series 2021, and ordinance amending section 13-1-330D with regard to step 3 to the Town of Mancos Municipal Code concerning wasting restrictions and violations and declaring an emergency.
I'll second.
We have a motion by trustee Cindy Simpson and a second by trustee Denise Bryan and trustee Betsy Harrison to accept ordinance number 763, series 2021, and ordinance amending section 13-1-330D with regard to step 3 to the Town of Mancos Municipal Code concerning wasting restrictions and violations and declaring an emergency. Heather, would you call the vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Fred Brooks.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Brett Warder.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So moving right along, dispatch IGA approval and authorization.
I'm actually going to request, if you all don't mind, that we table this item. The city of Cortez was supposed to sign it last night at city council, and they did not because their new manager just started on Monday. So we want to give him some time. This is kind of a big deal. So we want to give him some time to review it. And then I talked to their finance director today. Kelly and I have been assisting the police chiefs and the fire chiefs and that kind of thing with drafting the language. David has looked at it, kind of going along. If anything changes, we'll look at it again before the bring it to you. But Cortez City Council is now slated to hear and approve this at their next meeting in June for the so Justin and I are going to attend that meeting in support of the new city manager and the police chief and that kind of thing. Once they sign it, we'll bring it back to you guys. But they are running the dispatch center. They have the authority over the dispatch center. Like to sign it first, and then all of the other users will sign it. So if we can, I'd like to table this until our first or second meeting in June to give the council time to train.
Anybody have any objections to that?
I don't have an objection, but I have a question. When I was reading this, I started thinking about the discussion we had about the cost of this.
Yes.
And there's a lot of reference in here to the budget and how the budget's handled. And also, we obviously are paying Cortez to do the administration of this. And I know, according to the schedule in this, the budget's probably not gonna be ready until September for next year. But I'm wondering if we could get the current budget, if there's a current budget.
They do have a current budget, and the way it works now, because we have an existing IGA with that, and the way it works now is they just send us an estimate, an invoice, And then they send us a bill in January and we pay it. And it's based on the number of calls that our marshal's office uses. So one of the things that they've done, and actually just in the last 30 days, is the Mancos marshal's office now has its own channels, so it will be much easier to track the calls. And the reason for this IGA is so that the accountability committee that this IGA sets up, so that they have more say in the budget. Because right now, our current IGA basically says, we'll dispatch for you and you pay us when we send you an invoice.
So we've not seen a budget for running this operation at all?
No, I shouldn't say that. I will see it occasionally, like I talked to Kelly today, their finance director, so her and I talk about budget all the time. But under the existing IGA, the dispatch manager is responsible for preparing and disseminating information. It's my understanding that that has not been happening over the last several years. And this document is a result of a year of meetings, actually a year and a half now, of meetings with the users because we're having with that particular item. So I know that they've been meeting, I know the dispatch supervisor there has not been providing the information that's been asked of that person. So that's where this IGA comes in. They now, under the IGA, it sets out dates and times that she must provide it or he must provide it. If it is not provided, the accountability takes care of it. If the accountability committee gets no results, then they're going to go to the police chief, and the police chief will handle personnel from that point. That was the main impetus, I believe, for this document. I have zero problem paying a dispatch bill because that's how we know where the guys are, and it's kind of a safety thing. The problem that we have here in Mancos, and I won't speak for all 10 other users, here in Mancos is I was never able to balance well, you said we have this many calls, and I'm paying this bill, and can I have some information? I really get it, that kind of thing. So this is solving that problem, but it has been a problem. And when we move it up the chain, and keep in mind, Cortez has all new management staff. They have a new police chief, they have a new city manager, they have a new finance director. So we're hoping that with this document and the new relationships that we've been building, that they will be more responsive. For myself, again, not speaking for any of the other users, if the steps in this document do not manage to be followed, I am going to be coming to you and asking you to attend the city council meeting, because up until now, we haven't had any recourse. If I get no response, the dispatch manager's direct supervisor was also non-responsive. We have no recourse. If we don't pay the bill, they just stop dispatching for us. It's a very, the existing IGA is not written in our favor at all. So Justin's been working on this forever. David's been working on some drafts because they've changed directions quite a few times. At one time there was discussion about this group managing the dispatch staff, and it's not feasible. They work with Cortez. They're paid by Cortez. And so we've gone through so many iterations of this document, and the bottom line is we want our accountability wants input in the if there are problems with staff performance and with the budget process. We want actual hard numbers. So their representative under this document is actually going to be their finance director for the first year to make sure everything's running smoothly with that. Justin will be asking you, if and when this is finally approved, he'll be asking you to appoint Brad as our representative so that we have actually Brad's not getting results. He's going to go to Justin, who's going to call the police chief in Cortez, who's his peer. And if it doesn't work out, it's going to go one more level and then it's going to come to you guys. That's what this is doing. Because it's honestly been not acceptable.
Yeah.
Every year we get the dispatch bill, and every year I'm like,
Well, aside from the dispatch bill, though, I know Justin was talking just about the amount in the budget for rent for the space.
yes.
And I just feel funny signing something when we can't see a budget.
So you know what I'll do is I'm going to add to the minutes that current dispatch budget
I mean,
will be included the next time we put this on the agenda.
yes,
I'll put the current
Yes.
dispatch budget in there for you.
Was it not the previous financial director that wanted to do the rent though?
Yes,
Okay.
and that, so staff has changed, so they backed off of that. They backed off of the charging rates, which is what they were talking about before, yeah, 200,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
huge amount of
Yeah,
money.
that's not gonna happen.
Okay,
And I will include when we finally get it, I'll include whatever the most recent budget is for dispatch in here. I have seen though, both the county budget and the city of Cortez budget, as my role in this, working with their finance director, we have gone over budget and what should be included in there, what should not be included in there, new GL numbers that need to be included in there. If you get money, why is it not showing in here? We've spent a couple of months going through that,
Okay.
and I already know that as well. But I will make sure that it's included in the package.
thank you.
Yes.
And that's why Justin also says when we have a complaint or we have a call, we need to call dispatch, because that's how we're going to be able to track our calls. And if he knows that we've called in and they say we had 60 calls and they've only been dispatched on 30, then they go back and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? But he does want us to call everything in through dispatch.
And there's another piece, Cindy, I know you have a question.
Yeah.
There's another piece of this. Last year, you guys approved us transitioning to E-Force for our records management system. And now everybody in the county is on that same system. So we can also use to pull our reports. We should not have to, I think that. However, if it becomes necessary, we can pull our own reports. So.
Cindy, you have a question?
I do, and I was teaching class for 2 days straight, so my voice is a little nasty. On page 4, right at the top, item number 3. So the members are the towns and the county and whatever. And this says that the accountability committee will conduct a preliminary discussion of all unresolved disputes between members. Is that as related to dispatch? And could we clarify that? Because like if we're in some other kind of dispute, it seems weird that this could be lurking out there and they would say, oh, well, our accountability group is gonna, I mean, I know the intent is to have it focused on dispatch, but I'm just wondering if we could be a little more clear.
Well, it says between members.
Yeah, but the members are the towns and the county, not like the individual representatives.
Oh, so with relation to this, with regard to IGA or something?
Yeah, with
that.
regard to dispatch matters or something like that. I mean, it's innocuous, it's not really a substantive change, but it could make a difference in the future.
I will ask you to put that in there. The other thing that Justin and I talked about, because to be very honest, getting 12 or 11 or 13, however many years up, it's been arduous.
Mhm.
There are still some things in here that I would like to see changed. However, like I told Justin, they're not, it's kind of like this, they're not earth shattering,
Mhm.
but if they don't get included in this draft, when we renew every year, I want them included. So I've actually called them up and sent them to Justin and Brad and asked them to calendar them for, we're gonna renew every year in December, so I've asked them to calendar them for the year of September to start those discussions, because there's just not a big deal, it's a
Yeah.
big deal, but like, for example, I don't want the new Mississippi, that's me personally, we're 11 or 13, so it stayed in this draft, but I want to bring it up again and continue to bring it up.
Is it also weird that the Cortez police chief is always going to be the chairperson?
No, because he's the one who ultimately is the direct supervisor of the dispatch manager.
Okay, all right.
So, and Cortez under this agreement gets one other person, and it's going to be their finance person, like I said, for the first year to get bugs worked out. If they want to appoint somebody else after that, they can, but for the first year, it's going to be the police chief and then the finance director, just to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page. And like I said, I talked to Kelly today, she's, I'm really enjoying working with her. I think that once she gets her feedback, she's only been in there for a couple months. once she gets her feet wet and the new city manager gets going, I think it's gonna be a different working relationship than we've seen in the past.
So the town of Dolores is not included because they're covered under the county of Montezuma?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they ever go out on their own again, then they would be,
They would join the if they ever have law enforcement.
so, is everybody in agreement that we can table this?
Yeah.
Cindy, I think that would.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next, on the agenda is the townwide cleanup, yard waste drop-off fee discussion. Heather.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit at the last meeting. We wanted to add it to this agenda item. So we did include some information for you. Terry included some information. He did tell me today that he miscalculated. Instead of $7,840 per year, or excuse me, $8,560 per year, it is actually $12,160 because what we didn't include in the staff report is chipper rental for a week, which is,
It's okay.
but renting a chipper for a week and 2 staff members for 40 hours, so 80 hours of staff time, chip everything at the end of the season after the yard waste is wrapped up. So the total cost to the town for both yard waste and townwide cleanups is about $12,160 a year. He also wanted me to tell you that at the May yard waste drop-off, they have 25 loads. 5 of them did not live in the town. No, 5 of them. 5 of them did not live in the town of Mancos. So the majority of yard waste in Maine was from town of Mancos residents.
Cool.
So provided that information for you guys, and then it's kind of open for discussion as to whether we want to charge fees, not charge fees, charge out of town, rules and more.
Well, I kind of wanted to talk about this because I think that we can provide this service for the residents of the town, both the yard waste and the cleanup. But I'm concerned about the folks that don't live in town. And maybe we should charge a nominal fee to get some of that funding back. I have
Slightly
no
more
clue
than
what
the
those
dome.
fees would be. You know,
Yeah.
but even if it was $10, you know, a load, we could recoup some of our costs. So that was why I wanted it on the agenda.
Even if we charge the residents, you know, it still saves them a trip to Cortez. You know, the gas and everything down there, so if we charge, let's say, you know, $10 a load, it's gonna cost me 20 to drive to Cortez and unload. And gas and the fee, and what is the dump charge, Mike, do you know?
I know.
I think it's basic is 12, I
A
think.
monthly deal, free dumping of the yard waste and stuff.
The minimum I think is $12.
They charge them.
It's $11.50.
She
So,
tips them 50
you know,
cents.
so-
They weigh it and you pay by the ton,
Right.
by the pounds.
So
Right.
minimum charge is for up to 460 pounds is $11.50.
That's minimum.
That's the minimum. And then if it's construction stuff, like construction waste, a ton is $43.33.
You know, I know things are getting a little tight budget-wise. I think for right now, we could extend this to the town residents, because I sure don't want anybody to not clean up their yard, because they're really quick to say that, you know, if I just spend $10 on this, then I'm not gonna be able to feed my babies. So maybe we shouldn't go there quite yet, and we could establish a fee for the out-of-town people until folks get used to that.
Cindy, what are your feelings?
I would like to see it stay free of cost for in-town residents, for sure, because the whole idea is to make it super easy and super cheap to get rid of stuff.
That's gonna be just real hard on the employee that's sitting out there though, and you're saying you can't dump,
Yeah,
or you have to pay.
yeah. I think it would be easier.
It would be easier if everybody had to pay something, because
Yeah.
otherwise you got this truckload that's in town and the truck behind him is not, and.
Yeah,
But we're providing a service to our residents.
Right.
yeah, we're not, yeah,
That's
and I
still
thought of that too,
hard
like,
on
you know,
you.
if I'm the employee sitting out there and I have to tell somebody you cannot dump here, that's harder to me than, hey, it's gonna cost you $10, $20, you know? But I agree, it's gonna be real hard if an employee has to sit out there and say, no, you can't dump here. Here's a map to the other landfill, you know? But I think it's a lot easier to just say, this is for town of Mancos residents, you know?
Betsy?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it, but I think, I'm not sure that I would want to talk about the two in the same way. Because the yard waste is, I don't know, it's to me kind of like an environmental thing, and if, you know, if we collected, if there were 5 people in May and we collected $50 against, you know, 7,000, I don't know how much we gain out of that, you know, and I would really like to encourage people to do that and get the product chipped and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is, to me, is different. I mean, you know, I've seen the overstuffed chairs on the sidewalks and stuff, and you know, thinking about people coming in from Dolores to dump their overstuffed chair and, you know, out there, to me is in a different category than the chipping of the wood. I don't know. And maybe that doesn't make sense at all, but I definitely think down here, you know, the yard cleanup. I mean, not the waste, but the cleanup stuff should be for town people. And I don't know that we need to start sending people away. I don't even know, you know, do you ask them, is it the honor system?
Well, we already
You know,
charged.
but I would think that, I just don't think that's for out of town people.
We already charged for tires, correct?
Yes.
We do, we charge, if they charge us $5 a tire, we charge $5 a tire. It's a wash just to get it recycled properly. The other thing that we could do is, this can be kind of a discussion, and then we have already budgeted for this year. We budgeted money and staff time for it this year. It is something that we can talk about implementing next year, and if we want to continue, for example, to leave yard waste for anybody who wants to drop it off. And then we can say townwide cleanup is for citizens only, will improve the residents. We can do that next year with enough time to do public information, public outreach. The first cleanup is, I think, in less than 30 days, so I don't know that we want to do that this year, at least just to be completely fair. But we can always, you know.
I think it's something we need to discuss,
So
and
talk about it more.
maybe look at it for definitely for next year to start getting people aware, and maybe some signs up that this year it's free, next year it's going to cost you know?
Well, I recommend we maybe do this for our second workshop.
Yeah.
The other thing to think about or to consider, because we talked a little bit at the retreat about expectations, and once we start something, you know, that kind of thing. One of the goals that staff did not accomplish last year was shooting range or something at the Bulldog property. Once we start doing something with that property, yard waste is going to have to go away. We won't be able to continue to accept yard waste at that location. So I was thinking about that after the retreat when I was looking at the notes. Maybe we do allow yard waste to continue for free, because eventually it's going to have to go away. We cannot have people using it. I don't think the property is big enough for both. And depending on what we do there, whether it's, you know, whatever gets developed there, you're not going to be able to just dump yard waste and chip it and use it. So eventually that, I think, is going to go away. Unless we can come up with something else.
Let me ask Janice, she hasn't spoke first, so Janice.
I was thinking a similar, seems like kind of late in the game to start asking people to charge them, but still, we should, I think we should for next year. And as far as that property, if we can't use that for yard waste, maybe that's I know space is tight, but maybe we could find another place. Because I think it really sounds like people use this, and we don't want this service to go away. So if that property goes away, we'll find maybe another place for yard waste. But
Airport.
Yep.
And does the county charge then when you sell the chips and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have the monthly free deal to bring in your yard waste and stuff, but then they mulch it, and they make the mulch and sell the mulches.
Compost is $30 a cubic yard.
And they can't even keep up on their compost sales. We can't keep enough material in there
Wood chips are $5.25 a cubic yard.
And I think we just give our.
Yeah. We do. I've used it multiple times.
well,
So we could recoup some of our money by
right,
charging.
yeah.
Too. I mean, if we're gonna pay for the chipper, we might as well.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we maybe look at a chipper down the line where we don't necessarily have to just rent it every year.
We've talked about it, and
Well, if we're gonna have a robust parks department in the future,
Yeah.
I honestly, I know it's painful. I do think we need to start charging for the services that we're providing. Not to make money, but we should at least break even on the services. Because renting a chipper is kind of a waste of money. However, we have no maintenance, we have no insurance. So there are pros and cons. And if we're going to continue to provide the service and buy a chipper, I think we should charge so that we can at least cover our costs.
Or even the cost of renting it. I mean, that's not cheap. So, you know.
And we can kind of figure out, and if we do talk about this either in June, then we can talk about it at the June workshop, because I can put the other fee discussion on there that we do each year with our dog tax and that kind of stuff. I can bring that to the second workshop and we can talk about fees again. And by then, we may, I think we'll have another yard waste, so we have more information. I can also ask Terry, he's got the information from last year as well. So we could get a full year of data. Not for the cleanup. We don't track that. People just come in and dump their stuff down. But we do track yard waste. So I will ask him, even if this year we do the same thing for cleanup, he's planning on doing another estimate for cleanup. We're going to find out where you live. We're not going to stop people, but we're going to find out where you live. So in June, we'll have more information to find out how they live. So we'll bring that to the next meeting or the second workshop in June, and we can talk a little bit more. But I do agree. I think we need to charge something, even if it's nominal. I know we want to push the clean up the town, but $12,000 a year, and next year it's going to be more like that. And so it's only going to decrease. Okay, I can put this on the second workshop in June. We plan on making it last year.
Okay, so then next is the items for the June 9th, 2021 agenda. Our workshop, and we going to start in June having a workshop before every meeting. So workshops will start at 6. So we'll have 2 workshops a month. Our first workshop will be the 2021 project, capital improvements and fee schedule discussion.
Fee schedule will be in Tuesday.
Okay.
Can I ask a question while we're talking about workshops? Do you want us to provide food for every workshop? Do you want us to provide food for any workshop?
I mean, the first one maybe the first one that we do, and then the second one we'll just figure it out ourselves.
I just wanted to know what I'm projecting in budget for you. I just wanted to.
So right now we're doing it for Our workshop. Our workshop.
Do you have any idea how much the food is costing us presently?
About 70, anywhere between $70 and $120, depending on where we buy it and what we buy
Per month?
per month.
Per one meeting then, right?
So it'd be double
I don't think it's
Personally,
necessary.
I don't need the food.
I don't need the food.
I own a restaurant, I don't need the food. I'm good.
So,
Cindy?
I mean, when I was working over in Durango and driving like a bat out of hell to get here by 6, yeah, the food was really, really helpful. Right now, I'm still working at home. I may get to do that for a few months longer, but, and I know Ed, I think, always appreciated it because he was coming, flying in from work too, so, you know, it is really helpful, but that's also a lot of money, so I'll just pack a sandwich.
Come on, be honest.
Try to stay local. I think we
Stuff I brand.
reduce that cost by giving things, you know, branching out to Cortez, but we do as much as we can to stay local with that.
Yeah, well, and then somebody's got to drive over and get it too, so that's a shame.
So we might think, you know, I mean, not cut it out altogether, but I would cut it and then maybe once a quarter or something. We do it, but we can talk, you know. 'Cause that would cut it even more, but I think everybody's adult enough, they know they got a meeting at 6 o'clock, pack an extra sandwich with you in the morning, or wait till you go home and eat.
Yeah.
They don't eat.
You can also call your ordering to a local restaurant and pick them up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I will provide food for June 9th and then, we'll talk about that. We'll just gotta go get in.
We could certainly have bag lunches though, couldn't we?
Yes, you could.
We don't want to eat too early.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could come and still nibble
Yeah.
on our own food.
Yes. Yeah, and if everybody prefers that, you know, whatever, on this particular case, again, this is one of those totally at your discretion items. If you want us to provide food, we'll provide it. If you want to bring your own from now on, you know, we can do that. If there's something, if we ever have like a really early 5 o'clock, you know, like when we're talking about water, maybe we provide food then, you know, that kind of thing.
Why don't we just kind of do it on a discussion basis, and what's happening? Just let everybody.
If we stop feeding us, we can afford the yard waste. If I did the math right.
So I will
No,
not
that's
provide
not-
food for June 9th.
That's not right.
Somebody changes their mind on me.
Forgot it's 0.
We'll stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Math is hard.
Save the money.
All right, so hear that, no food for June 9th.
Yeah.
So
Fine.
everybody wants something in
Cindy,
your
when
own.
you go back to work earlier, just call me and I'll get takeout for you.
Okay. Yeah.
I know her what
Yeah.
she orders, so.
I think he knows my credit card by heart now. I think I spent like $200 there.
Okay,
The
so
first
then
week.
next,
You may be able to get delivery. If you call it in at the appropriate time and you're both meeting in the same place. at the same
Yeah,
time.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so we won't plan any more food. And again, if we have something heavy or something that starts at 5 or something, we'll talk about it. Okay.
okay, so committee reports, Region 9, CDOT, TPR, that'll be on. And the May bills and claims, and does anybody else have anything that you want to discuss?
Mhm.
So, okay. No comments, no nothing? Anybody?
We're trying to keep this one light as we start budget next month, so we're going to have some long, potentially heated discussions for the next few months. So.
What?
So now I won't be at the June 9th meeting, so Fred, you get to run the meeting. I will be at the FW State Convention.
At the what?
The FW State Convention.
Our wastewater treatment at Virginia has been canceled. It was pushed back to the end of February, beginning of March. So I don't know how much movement we'll see in the next few months. So if you don't hear from me, please know what's happening. But as things start moving again, we'll you'll start hearing about it. I just wanted to mention that so if you don't hear anything, it just got delayed a bit.
I want to thank everybody for attending the retreat. I thought a lot of good discussion came out of it. And thank you guys for giving up your Saturday to do that. Do appreciate it. I would then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Love it.
I had like until 9 to be away from there.
Well, we can just we can go for a while. If you want
That's okay. I'm actually gonna get some food now.
to. Go get something to eat yourself.
Yeah.
And if you were to eat, what do you order?
Oh, tonight I'm probably gonna have.
Do you have a special tonight?
No, not tonight, but I'm gonna have I think we're gonna do fish and chips tonight.
Fish and chips, like the fish sandwich?
No fish.
You got fish and chips?
Yep.
When did you, that was?
I brought it back a couple days ago.
Okay. So the first time I came in there, I ordered fish and chips, and apparently I was speaking Midwest. So I got a fish sandwich, and I was like, "Don't you have fish and chips?" And she's like, "That's a fish and chip." And I'm like, "Okay." So I just ate it. It was really good, but it was like I've never seen somebody serve fish and chips on a bun.
But now you have to use
I
white
think you
fish.
just didn't
It's
hear me.
cod.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
2 pieces of cod.